Yo, what is up, everybody? This is a guy on Viper. So, if you haven't known already, Viper is very OP in 7.21. And why, you may ask? Well, if you haven't realized yet, this guide is definitely for you. If you haven't watched how OP Viper is and this is your first time. So, like, everyone knows how to play Viper, right? You just fucking right click. Well, a while ago they actually changed Viper's ability, so now he actually has some casting to do, which is fun. So Viper essentially is a hero. He's not necessarily a carry, so you probably want to wrap the game up early, and it's pretty fairly easy to do so as long as you don't die. And it's actually very hard to die with Viper as long as you get a good start. So essentially, turn the volume down a little bit. So essentially what you're gonna try to do is you're gonna wanna snowball from the early game and into the late game without much trouble. So if you mess up your early game, there you could go in the jungle potentially. However, like, you're gonna be having a little bit of trouble, and most of the time Viper wins any mid lane matchup except for like Brood Mother. But then again, no one plays Brood Mother at all. Let me just check for recording. Okay. Don't worry about whatever you saw. So for Viper, the skill build is pretty straightforward. So what you want to do is you always want to max out your nether toxin. As soon as you get to the mid lane, just spill on the ground and just start like pushing out the wave, right? And once the second wave comes, do the same thing. And then by now, after you kill the second wave, and you want to make sure you kill the range creep because the enemy is gonna try to deny it. You want to level up your nether corrosive skin, and then you want to level up this, and now you can jungle very efficiently, because if you just go in the jungle camps on the side of your mid lane, so on the radiant side there's some here, on the dire side there's some up here, and you just spill it in there, and then you go on top because of the corrosive skin, you just kill it, and you go back in the lane, back and forth, back and forth. Your farm, well, you will out farm the enemy mid laner no matter who the fuck it is, unless it is a Brood Mother, obviously. But no one plays that, okay? It's like 1% pick rate, alright? No one fucking picks that. And because Viper's picked very often, you want to essentially first pick Viper and ban either a Lifestealer or Ursa, because no one picks Brood Mother, okay? If someone does and they're good at it, you're fucked. There's no point in banning Brood Mother. I'd rather you ban a Lifestealer, because Lifestealer also hard counters Viper. So, and then you want to max out this and that, and on your level 6, you know, max your all out every time level 6, and once you're level 7, you want to max out Nether Toxin, because Nether Toxin does a lot of damage. They buff Nether Toxin. I bet they're gonna nerf it again, but before they do, you better spam this hero as much as you can and get the most MMR, suck all the MMR you could out of it. And that's what you gotta do. You farm, you push. Magic resistance reduction, that's very OP because it works with your ulti, and your ulti does magic damage. Essentially you can kill the enemy in mid hero. And usually I don't even take a single point in poison attack, because that shit's useless, okay? You don't need it. It doesn't do anything. It wastes your mana. So essentially, the more, like, it takes up levels and it wastes your mana. So normally I wouldn't take it unless I have good mana regen. So talent points, always spell lifesteal. Okay, attack speed is useless. This, because you're gonna be using your nether toxin and your ulti, so you will heal back, okay? Essentially that's what allows you to not to die and keep fighting throughout the game. And this is just good for corrosive skin, because if you didn't notice, in a 1400 radius, everything that hits you will damage the enemy for 38 health per second. This will stop any regeneration as well, and you get 31%, okay? 31% 31% fucking magic res at level 15 is essentially a fucking pipe. Okay, it's actually more than a pipe. A pipe is only 30%. So Viper basically has a free AoE nuke that clears out camps and pushes out the wave by itself. Okay, level 4, even level 3 Nether Toxin, it will kill all these creeps. You see? All the creeps are dying. You can just spill your little thing and have a good day and go farm jungle, essentially. And Viper, this is just a little bit on the back. You just want to turn this on repeatedly near the late game because you have a lot of mana regeneration, which is what you want to try to aim for. And magic damage, essentially, if you're going up against a Zeus or anything that's magic damage, you don't really give a shit, essentially. And you can make BKB or pipe. Your ulti is just a little bit bonus on top. And then here, poison attack does not do jack shit because of one, pushing, you don't need a, Viper can push either way. Poison attack is essentially a fucking Jakiro fire blast, but a little bit worse. There's no point in picking that. And then over here, you actually want to choose. Most people go for Nether Toxin Silence, which is very OP because not only it breaks them, like anti-mage can't blink out, they can't use their spells, which is really OP. But let's say if the enemy does not have any sort of spell, or if the game is about to wrap it up, you can pick the damage. But normally 90% you want to pick this. Okay. Item build. Okay, starting off, what you want to do is get some tangles, a branch. Hopefully your team gives you some tangles. And then you just want to buy one of these because more stats, easier last hitting, and whatever. After you consume yourself, oh, by the way, always get a mango healing salve and fly yourself a ton of mana regeneration because at early levels you're not gonna have enough to do that, and you really need that in order to speed up your farm. So first item you want to make, boots. Very simple. If they got some magic damage and this helps with your mana regeneration, get a raindrop and then upgrade your boost to some mana boost, right? So this will help you sustain and just be able to spam that, right? Very simple. And your next item, just rush your Rod of Ados. Rod of Ados, this is essentially the building block for Rod of Ados. And once you get this, normally you want all 3 items right here. Essentially you can skip the mana arcane boost if you fight yourself some more clarities, which is fine because sometimes you want to get a really good timing on this. And once you get a Rod of Ados, essentially the enemy mid laner, you Rod of Ados them, do that, and then they're dead. Well, the axe level 1, but essentially that's what happens. They're dead. Okay, you put this down, you do that, you hit them a few times, maybe use one of these, they're gonna be dead. Okay, and that's all you want to do. And then your second item, I like to go for a drum because it gives you some speed. And then you wanna, most of the time you wanna go for a blade mill because blade mill is essentially what Viper needs: armor, mana regen, and damage. So it's the perfect item on Viper. And then now this is the part where it gets interesting. So usually if they have any sort of spell casting, I don't buy BKB because I'm pretty tanky. I just buy this. Okay, armor, HP regeneration, mana regeneration. This will allow you to be able to do whatever you want with your mana in the late game. And boost of travel. Since as a Viper actually farm insanely fast. That's the thing. With Nether Toxin, you farm insanely fast. And this should be your inventory somewhat looking like. And then now the game is pretty much ended. Maybe buy an axe, okay, just to spam your ulti every 10 seconds, and it's broken. And on top of that, you heal from it. If anything, if in doubt, you can always go for an AC, a Hurricane Pike, which is pretty good, Maelstrom to push, a Butterfly. I don't really recommend because this is essentially all magic damage build. If you want to go one level up, you can either buy Octarine Core which basically heals you forever and you cannot die in a team fight. Or you can buy a Yasha and Kaya, which is more preferred because it's cheaper, better value, it gives you mana regeneration and whatnot. So yeah, that's that. And now you pretty much win the game with Viper. Viper doesn't really have much counters to Vipers. Like, Vipers just pretty much win the lane either way, and then you just snowball from there. Essentially, that's what you want to do. If you're not snowballing Viper, you're not doing it right. Rush a Rod of Ados and just kill your mid laner, and then TP to another lane, do the same thing, and you win the game. It is very simple. I hope you guys enjoyed this guide. If you guys have any questions, leave it in the comment section below. Be sure to answer them, and I'll see you boys next time.